Riga, capital of EU member state Latvia. It's one of Northern Europe's most beautiful cities and home to Mottra Caviar, a company producing the ultimate culinary luxury, black caviar. Riga is also home to Motra's founder, aquaculture expert Sergei Trachuk. I'm a technical guy, and I was always fascinated by fish and how they lived, how some grew strong and healthy, and some didn't survive. For Ukrainian people, and I am Ukrainian, the king of all fish is the sturgeon. I've worked with sturgeon, studied them most of my professional life. This company, my company, Mottra, is really the fulfillment of a dream I've had. I'd seen the damage that's been done to this fish in the wild, and I wanted to produce caviar in a sustainable way, in an ecological way. Fortunately, I found the perfect place to realize this dream. In Latvia, during the transition to a free market economy, there were many factories that were either abandoned or barely surviving. Fortunately, we were able to find one that met our specific requirements. Of course, it wasn't easy. Our tanks, the filtration and feeding systems took an enormous amount of time and effort. We made large investments in the tanks, the equipment, the building, and of course the fish, which is the most expensive part of the factory. We really wanted a state-of-the-art facility. And yes, I can say I'm very pleased with the progress we've made so far. The company operates with about 25 people. Most are aquacultural specialists, but we also have engineers and technicians who manage and test the process technology. Caviar production is not like a traditional fish farm. It's a hybrid business, so we had to attract our scientists and experts from many different industries. We watch everything very closely. Nothing can be left to chance. We inspect visually. We use sensors. All the variables must be controlled. One mistake and the results could be catastrophic. Even though we would like to put the factory on autopilot, it's impossible to raise sturgeon in such a way. This business really cannot be fully automated. In some ways, it's an art form. We have a company philosophy at Mottra to produce a caviar in an ecologically responsible and sustainable way. So all the technologies we use must be consistent with that philosophy. This affected our factory design from day one. One example is our water filtration scheme, which is a critical part of the closed-loop water system we use. Our fish live in a tightly controlled environment where water is completely purified using advanced biofiltration. Cleanliness and product purity is a real priority with Mottra and one of our core principles. Our caviar must be environmentally pure. Our obsession with clean production also extends upstream. For example, unlike most caviar farms, we don't use river water. Our source water comes from wells over 200 meters deep. After pumping it into tanks, we pass it through additional purification so thorough the water could be bottled and sold commercially. And the water we do sometimes release into the river is ecologically friendly to local marine life. At Mottra, we take our environmental responsibility very seriously. In addition to the extremely clean water, we use a special bio-certified feedstock produced in the Netherlands. It's more expensive, but we know that it doesn't contain any impurities. Our water, combined with the food we use, guarantees our fish and the caviar they produce are 100% environmentally friendly. We manage all phases of the sturgeon life cycle. We pay a lot of attention to the comfort of the fish in terms of water temperature and oxygen level. Tank population density is another variable we also adjust to reduce stress. Perhaps the most important part of our production philosophy is harvesting the sturgeon eggs. Our procedures are above all humane. We do not traumatize the fish. We are gentle, and we certainly do not kill them as they do in the East. Even today, contrary to international law, thousands of poachers are harvesting fish and killing them for their eggs. This is legally, morally, and ecologically wrong, and long-term, it's a disaster. We love our fish and want them to grow strong and productive. We never crowd our tanks, and we make sure our fish are stable, healthy, and comfortable so they produce more often and the eggs are of consistent quality. We harvest eggs by using a milking procedure. This gentle massaging technique was developed by our partners in southern Russia. Such techniques have gained wide acceptance and are now used in many other countries. Nowadays, we've improved even more by using modern technology such as ultrasound to help determine egg maturity and milking time. You have to harvest eggs at exactly the right time. If you don't pay close attention to this, you can stress or injure the fish, and this is something we definitely want to avoid. Fish are retrieved from the tanks individually by hand. They are immediately checked for egg maturity and, if ready, are carried to our milking station. It's important to work as quickly as possible since, for obvious reasons, we don't want our fish out of the water very long. The entire process can take as little as 10 minutes. The milking procedure is fast and gentle. We stroke the fish to softly coax the eggs out of the body without injuring either the fish or the eggs. It's not as easy as it looks and takes a trained hand to get all the eggs without injuring the soft underbelly. After all eggs are removed, the fish is immediately returned to its tank. After we collect the caviar, we must clean and process the freshly harvested product. A single fish produces only a limited amount over a long time span, so each batch must be handled with great care. Even the temperature of the rinsing water is important. Nothing can be left to chance. In keeping with our production philosophy, we use only salt as a natural preservative. The final stage of production is packaging. Because of the delicate nature of our product, packaging must be done by hand. Each jar is hand-weighed, sealed, and labeled. At Mottra, we produce 2 varieties of caviar, Osetra and Sterlet. Each type comes from a different breed and size of fish, and each possesses a slightly different texture and taste. We invite you to try both and decide for yourself which is the best. Instead of metal, we prefer glass jars because we believe there is less chance for contamination. In the wild, sturgeon will produce offspring twice a year. In our factory, we can harvest eggs any time we need to meet production requirements. In nature, the fish reach maturity in 5 to 10 years depending on the species. Mottra fish mature 3 to 5 times faster. There's a good reason for this. The artificial environment we created is much more comfortable than the natural environment. There are no temperature variations. Feeding is consistent and precisely scheduled. Plus, we tweak some of the other important variables, which greatly speeds up the process. You know, Mother Nature needs our help. People have been spoiled by the gifts nature offers. They've not taken care to preserve and protect as much as they should. Technologies such as ours can help solve that problem by preserving and cultivating endangered fish so they can be reintroduced into the natural environment. So from my point of view, you can say that we're not only raising sturgeon for the benefit of people who enjoy caviar, but also we believe we're doing something important for all mankind. Of course, we're not the only ones in this business, but we're committed to produce our products in an ethical and ecologically responsible way.